Hey, buddy. Good, turn this up.
Can you hear me all right?
Yep, now I can hear you. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Was not as much. Yeah, I'm still coming up with mine. Now it's.
I know I had a hard time this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happened the last couple weeks, but this week was a little uneventful.
Hey, are you hearing any static?
I'm not.
Okay, I am. So let me see if I can figure out what that is, because it might be on my end.
It might be. Let me. Do you want to unplug my mic and plug it back in?
No, keep yours the way it is.
Okay. Check, 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 check. Is that helpful at all?
No, actually. Turns out not at all. Let's see. I wonder if you are. Can you turn yours down a little bit, Jason?
Is it the same as the headphones?
I don't know.
I don't either. Let me try. Let me look that. Hello? Hello?
I can still hear you.
Okay.
Nope, it's still. B, how are you?
What's up? Doing well.
I'm getting some static, but I can't figure out where it's coming from. So.
I can hear it too.
Okay.
Sounds weird.
It does sound weird. All right.
Alien.
Like an alien?
Yeah, it's like.
All right, Jason, unplug your stuff and then plug it back in.
Okay. Hold on.
This might be a terrible mistake. Just keep it unplugged for a second. Okay, B, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I don't hear the static anymore.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. All right, Jason, you can plug yours back in. Is this plug in? Feels like there's got to be a universal sign for plug in.
But if it's not plugged in, he can hear us at the laptop, right?
Maybe. You never know with Jason's setup.
Maybe he's looking at something.
Okay, Jason, plug it back in. Are you plugged in now, Jason?
I am plugged in. I am plugged in, yes.
I can still hear it.
You're our static, bro.
Okay. That's a bummer, because that's my new microphone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, but I don't hear any static.
Really?
I think so. Did you unplug something?
No, I just unplugged the microphone and then plugged it back in.
Can you hold the microphone up to the camera for a second? Can you like turn it so I can see the other way? Is there a volume control on the microphone?
No, I don't see one. I don't see one. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is it still staticky?
Yeah.
Can you hear that news I'm watching?
No.
So this thing doesn't work?
No, it's working. Hold on. Now I don't hear the static at all. The problem is probably that it's too good, Jason. Like it's probably catching too much stuff.
Okay.
Try. I keep talking now.
Check, check, microphone, check.
Microphone unplugged?
No, my microphone's on now.
Oh, there it is again. Unplug your headphones.
Unplug my headphones. How's that?
I don't know. Keep talking.
Check, check, microphone, check.
Still a little bit of static, right? Are you hearing it? Yeah, I've touched it a little bit, Jason. Not a lot. Huh. Jason, is that you on a paper?
No, that's somebody else. I hear that though.
B, is that you?
Doing what?
Scratching paper?
No, I'm just sitting here.
That was weird.
That is weird.
Wrapping paper?
No, like scratching paper. Like if you're
No.
Maybe I should unplug them. No, maybe the mouse or something. My son has all this crap packed like plugged into this thing.
yeah, no, that's fine. I actually don't hear it anymore.
You don't hear it anymore?
Oh, there
Can I
it is.
try to plug my headphone back in so I don't have to listen to this computer?
Hold on. Sit totally still for a second, Jason.
What?
Don't move. Just sit still and talk for a second.
Okay.
Nope, still got it. Okay.
I just plugged my headphones back in.
Do you have a different
Yeah,
headphones to try out? I know you have more headphones.
I think I got a bunch of headphones, yeah.
Yeah.
I can just listen over the laptop too.
No,
If it's the headphones. Is it the headphones?
I don't know. I don't
Do
think
you still hear it?
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's not the headphones.
not as bad now. Although the echo.
Yeah, you could probably hear yourself in the computer.
Yeah, that's weird.
That is weird. What do we want to try next?
Try different headphones.
Okay.
Any ideas, B?
Say what?
Any ideas?
Is it a new one, Jay? Is this the same one you've been using?
It's a new microphone.
Well, I know for me, sometimes my laptop for work does that, and if I unplug the power cord, then the static stops.
And just run it on battery.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good idea.
I don't know why that works. Isn't that weird?
Maybe it might be the amount. Like I really think it's the microphone picking up things that we don't normally hear and amplifying it.
Can Jason hear us?
Not.
I was going to get headphones. Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, we have an idea.
Okay.
This works for Bianca sometimes. She said so.
Try unplugging the power cord of your laptop.
Okay. How's
Did you
that?
plug in your headphones?
No, not yet.
We'll plug those
But I
in.
can
We
hear
have
you.
everything set up.
I can hear
Like we're gonna have the conversation.
How's that?
So far, not too bad. I think you need to keep talking though, Jason.
Okay. How does this sound? Check 1, 2.
That's substantially
one, two.
better. That's way
Okay.
better. B solved it.
Yeah, I
Yep.
don't know why that works. I have a really old laptop, so we just figured that out recently.
Crazy. Well, there
This
you go.
is a really new laptop, so I don't know.
It's not. It has nothing. It's just the power, the amount of power that's running, and then what the microphone's picking up because of that. I think it sounds good though.
Yeah.
But now we're sounding good. We got
Yeah.
headphones, we got new headphones, we got everything.
You ever sounded right here?
Now we're feeling good. I got a mouse.
What?
A mouse?
B,
Yeah.
you got a camera?
I got a new camera.
How
I feel
about-
like it's too sharp. It's like a little too much.
Can I get somewhere between standard and high definition?
Yeah. I just need to get nice new headphones next. These are just the iPhone ones.
That makes sense.
Even though I don't have an iPhone.
All right.
All right.
B, how'd you do putting 5 together this week?
I actually have 6.
What?
I know, but
What
I think I
does
could
it say?
combine 2. Because
like
I had fall
smart
retreat this weekend.
people.
They're all work related, so I have no life outside of work.
Weird. All right.
I think I could. Yeah, I can combine 2.
Jason, one of mine, I'm sure, will be one of yours. So
Really?
if you only have 4, you can definitely take one of mine because I'm positive you may not have written it down, but I'm sure you will be grateful for it.
Also,
Alright.
I'm gonna give a moment for Hill I'll Die On.
Oh,
So
you
start
do have-
thinking now. I can take it out and then keep my 6th or 5th one as 6th, whatever. But
yeah.
I think it'd be fun.
All right. Listen, I'm in on all of it. So.
I only could think of one, and it's not great, but I'll just keep it.
All right. All right.
I mostly just want to hear your guys' your complaints. It's turned into complaint time.
Yeah, it really has. Fortunately for you, I have a few of those.
Yeah, the challenge is a hill I'll die on that's not just a complaint.
Right. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out.
If there is such a thing. The Venn diagram might be a circle.
Oh, man. All right, you guys ready?
Ready.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, listeners worldwide, welcome to This Week in Gratitude. I am Greg Richards in San Antonio, Texas. I'm joined by my good friends Jason in Los Angeles and Bianca in Seattle.
Hi.
And we are glad to be with you today. We are glad to be with each other. One of the things we do every week is we try to get together and talk about the 5 things from the last week that we are thankful and grateful for, and allow each other to share those conversations and to connect on those things. And that's what this podcast is. It's just a conversation between 3 friends who all happen to be pastors, who are all grateful for different things in their lives. And so we try to share those together. And we ask you to overhear them and send us your things, and then pass on any recommendations or things you love or are grateful for. Share them with those around you, and gratitude increases. And when that happens, other things, apparently very bad things, decrease. So that's what we're hoping for. If you enjoy this conversation at all, if you get something out of it, please go ahead and subscribe to it on whatever listening platform you're listening on, and send it around to your friends. If you don't have friends, that's okay. Just keep it to yourself then. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. I'd say strong to very strong. It was a less eventful week, so I'm having trouble with coming up with 5 of these bad boys. But doesn't mean I'm not grateful.
You be grateful for the little things.
That's right. How was your week, Bianca?
Busy. We had fall retreat this weekend, so it's all I've done.
Right.
I was balancing out Jason's mediocre week. I can't believe that I was like moving. This is unlike any other week for me. So
crazy. All right. Well, Jason, you might as well get us started then.
Excellent. I think I'll start with Thanksgiving is actually going to be a really good Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is typically, a hard time actually for me to be thankful, just because missing my mom and that kind of jazz. But it started to turn around a couple of years back, and gratitude started to break through. And I was really looking forward to Christmas, because my in-laws are coming out from Wisconsin, and I was hoping that we as a whole pack, like a whole group, I don't know, whatever you want to say, was going to head up to Auburn or Nevada City, just way up in Northern California, because that's where my mother-in-law's sister lives, and she's one of my favorite people. And then another one of my favorite people is my little brother's mother-in-law, Gretchen. And I think I've told you about her. She listens to the podcast, and I don't know. She's like a surrogate mom to me and stuff like that. And she just is ridiculous. She's one of my favorite people on the planet. She's just a really cool lady. And then we got news. Now that's too far. It's like 6 or 8 hours to drive up there. And people coming out from Wisconsin don't want to spend, 2 of the days that they're out here driving, up and back. And so we're going to go to Santa Barbara for Christmas. So I was kind of bummed. I was like, but I found out Gretchen is coming down for Thanksgiving. And so I don't know, it just flipped my Thanksgiving. It got me super excited about Thanksgiving, just hanging out with Gretch and hanging out with my fam, her fam, and good stuff. I'm excited about Thanksgiving now. The whole new bam.
So I'm trying to figure out how snarky I want to be in response to you. I'm going to dial it right to the middle and not go quite as bad as I wanted to go. But there's a lot of details in that story, Jason, that are
I wanted to jam it all in there.
Well, you knew them all. Like this isn't like you unfolded the story as though these were new revelations. But
maybe somebody hasn't heard every single one of our podcasts
in California, right? Like that's not.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right.
I call my
you're
friend
excited
Gretchen
about
Gretch
Christmas, you're
too.
excited about Thanksgiving.
Say again?
You're bummed about Christmas, but now you're excited about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and it made up for now. I'm excited about Christmas too. You know, just because I don't know, that was part of why I was. You know, I don't know. I lump it all together.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least I'm seeing Gretchen and Mark, her husband. He's awesome too. I just love how mellow that dude is. I'm hanging out with some of my family that I don't get to see very often
Yes.
at one of the two holidays, which is cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I feel like there's a question in there somewhere, but Bianca, what
I was gonna say I call my friend Gretchen Gretch too. I think it's funny that you call her that.
I don't know if I've ever called that to her face. I don't know if she'll listen to this and be like, I don't know what.
Or
Gretch?
Gretchino. I call her Gretchino.
But I was thinking, what's the one person from like your extended family tribe that
Easy.
if they for sure were coming, you'd be like, yes, this is gonna happen.
Well,
Like,
I do love all of my cousins,
know,
but
I know.
one of my cousins is married to the greatest storyteller I've ever met, named Frank. And if Frank is gonna be there, everyone will come. And everyone will have a good time. Like literally last time we were hanging out over Easter, it was just kind of this quiet moment around like a fire, like 20 people, and someone goes, Frank, tell a story. And then he did, and it was a killer story that I still remember. I was like, man, the guy delivers. Anyway, he's the best.
That's underrated, right? Like that's an underrated part of being an adult is like how your family expands, and that's cool.
Yeah. I still call him my cousin, even though he's my cousin's husband. But
yeah, that counts. That counts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you have one, Greg?
I don't know. I was thinking about I'm in the same boat where I like most of my family, most to all, depending on the week. And I would say, I think Jeff Lonsdale is one of my favorite go-to guys. Like I love hanging out with that guy. He lives in San Antonio, which is funny, so I get to see him more than I would have in the past. But definitely, like when it's an extended family gathering, if he's there, that's a good time. And then another guy, Rob Casadani. Those two are both like my wife's cousins or second cousins or whatever, and those guys are both awesome. So
that's fun. Shout outs
to Jeff and Rob. And Frank. You said Frank.
Right? Frank.
All right. P, what's your number one?
Okay. I'll just.
But they're not in actually any order.
Yeah, my number.
Before
one,
you go,
yeah.
Frank what's your favorite classic name?
Well.
Wow, you guys both have classic names.
Frank.
You have like old school traditional names, Gretchen and
But Frank is one of my faves. I don't know. I just
Frank, and then his son is Frank Aaron. So there's Frank and Frank Aaron.
It's hard to beat Frank. Anyway, I don't know if we want to make this longer, but I just hearing the name Frank. It's been a while since I've known a Frank. And
I have a Frank who's hilarious too.
Yeah. Anyway,
I have a Chris Frank buddy, and he's got the double name. You know, he's got the double first name.
Yeah, we both have a friend named Chris Frank, but they're not the same friend.
Yeah.
Weird.
All right, let's get to B's one. Sorry.
Okay, I already mentioned that this weekend we had fall retreat. It was crazy bonkers, and no one got seriously injured, which is nice. I didn't have to make any phone calls home, which is awesome. But I will distill it down to, I just like fall retreat. I worked really hard to make it happen. Me and my coworkers. So, I mean, obviously I want to make it fun, but I'll just say for this weekend, I just really like, for my job in general, just being silly. There's not a lot. I don't know a lot of like mid 30-year-olds that can be this silly in their job. And I was like, for the night game, I was the big bad. I was this old grandma that you've heard of werewolves. She was a werebear. that was the line. So I was a werebear grandma for the skit. And I'm like hiding under this blanket, like trying to scare the kids and being like, what job have I come across here? And so just the idea that I get to be so silly in this can be pretty serious job, I just really am grateful for. And all the volunteers, obviously, that I mentioned every single This Week in Gratitude podcast. They're just as silly. They're younger than me, so it kind of makes sense that they still got it. But I'm really grateful that I can still have serious moments with the kiddos, but also be a grandma werebear sometimes. And yeah, that was part of the fall retreat. One section of the fall retreat weekend. That was this weekend.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
It's funny, if I was thinking of you and an animal, I think a bear might have been the last.
What? I love bears.
I know, but you don't look like a bear.
Yeah.
Well, I did. Well, fall retreat, I had a mask on.
Oh, okay.
Somewhere around here.
That settled it. A very small bear.
Yeah, I was like, well, like
I think of a raccoon. Bianca is a raccoon.
I like raccoons, so that I don't mind that one.
There you go. All right. My number one, and I know we're not supposed to rank them, but this is legitimately my favorite one, I think. And I don't know how the rest of you did not have this as your number one. I'm disappointed on levels. The midterms are over.
Oh gosh. Get to politics.
Hearing about voting. Good night. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I don't know. I know that's not supposed to be the response. Like, it's supposed to be like you're supposed to be really sad or really excited about the results. I'm just glad it's over. Is that a thing? Like, can I just?
I think it is.
So happy that it's done. Like, there's got to be a word for that. Like, I don't care. It's kind of ironic because it's sort of how midterms are in college too. Of like, at a certain point, you just want them to be done. You don't even care if you get good grades or not. It's like, I'll deal with the fallout later, but I just want to be finished. That feels like what the midterm elections are. It's like,
so patriotic.
Just want it.
I know.
I just want it over. Please be over. So,
that's your number one.
That's my number one. I'm so excited that I'm giddy with excitement that it's over, and I can probably by this weekend imagine I can go back on social media and not hate it. So that'll be nice. I'm excited about it. You know, it's man, so I have a thought question for you. This is something I've been struggling with a little bit deeper on the elections. Why does Levi's care if I vote?
I know. I was always interested in that commercial.
Yeah, it's a strange, like, for a long time I thought, like, oh, this is just a commercial about voting. And then I realized, like, 2/3 of the way through that they're showing a lot of butts.
Yeah.
It was like, oh,
with the Levi's.
This is a weird, it's Levi's. Why do I care if I vote? But then,
I think they're just tapping into what they know people are talking about. I don't think they could care less. They know people are talking about it. It's you know, like you said, it's all over social media, so they're capitalizing on it, literally.
Yeah. The question then is how much of that sort of just trying to tap into it is what's actually going on in the social media stuff too, right? Like, it becomes this weird, like, snake eating its tail thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're not sure anybody actually cares about it by the time you get done. I don't know.
Does anybody know, did more voters vote or anything?
More voters than other past midterm elections, but less than presidential elections. And only like 1/3 of 18 to 29-year-olds who were registered to voted or something like that.
Yeah. But it was pretty funny. The millennials I work with, they are so far, you know, because they're in recovery. They're trying to get off drugs and, you know, off the streets. And somebody said something from the front, like during the announcements, and they said, "We're supposed to, what vote?" You know, like, there's just like, it's like another world. It's totally another world. Yeah. And my 2 cents on the Levi's thing, it's just like when they use MLK to sell Chevys or whatever during the Super Bowl. It's just, I think it's crazy. I actually love the MLK one just because I love it every time I love to hear that guy's speeches. That guy's ridiculous. But Levi's, it makes me angry because, not because of talking about voting, but because it goes away from, I love that. I love the tracks behind some of the commercials these days. And Levi's been picking that one that goes, ooh-wee, ooh-wee, and it shows that, like, the couples dancing. Like, I love that one. I love that. I love that commercial just because it brings joy to my heart. It's an African-American older couple. They're like, ooh-wee, ooh-wee, and that just gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. Anyway.
Give me goosebumps.
It does. I'm an easy target.
Levi's is onto something.
Yeah, you didn't like the Levi's voting commercial because it ruined other Levi's commercials. Is one I thought I was going to hear.
Yeah. Leon Bridges is doing a new Gap commercial. I love that one too. That guy's money. Anywho.
There you go.
Oh, another 2 cents about the voting or whatever. In 2012, Malia and I picked up that 5-year journal, and we've been doing it ever since. And then we finished it in 2016 or 17 or 16, whatever. Whatever. Now we're doing it all together as a family. And the question, like 2 days ago, was what is one thing that you're tired of hearing about and talking about? And it was elections. It was elections all over the place.
Perfect.
My kids, it wasn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who wrote that one?
Elsie's was homework.
Yeah. Well, good luck, Elsie.
Yeah, that'll be the next 12 years.
That one's going to be common every time that question gets asked.
Yeah.
Crazy.
All right, is it me? It's already back to me.
We're flying today.
I think my gratitude, my second one is just since we're around the election or whatever, just that first Native American women that got voted in. I don't know. My knee-jerk response was tears. Like I honestly, I don't know how. It's weird. It was just I found out about it just sideways. You know, like Malia's mentioned it something. I was just like, man, all those years of us. You know, I don't know. It just brought up all the atrocities and how horrible the Native American people were treated, and just to finally, I don't know, win something. It was, I don't know. I was like the Detroit Lions winning the Super Bowl or something.
Let's
not go there. I had Greg until that. But it was just, yeah. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that even though I'm with Greg on this, like the midterms and elections, I think everybody putting hope in the political system is false hope. But on the side, I don't want to miss moments of like things that we should be thankful for, things that that's awesome. I just think that's good. This is one of the best things that's happened this week. So that's why it's on my list. Bam.
That's why it's on the list.
Yep.
It reminded me of one that I was not grateful for necessarily, but I was curious about again. It does seem like, Bianca, you're the only female on our show. I don't know if you know that, but as
where is this going?
As our female representative, I did want to ask you: hold on? This is gonna go terrible. Sorry. Do you feel like constantly pointing out that somebody is a woman when they're being elected? Is that
just in general?
Yeah, is that okay, or is that
like when that prosecution was going on and they were like the female prosecutor? It's like just a prosecutor.
Prosecutor, because I had that thought a couple of times, and then Native American, or then South Korean, or there's all these other labels we put on female candidates.
Yeah.
That we don't always put on. I mean, sometimes we put them on guy candidates too. I guess it depends on if it's.
I think when it's historic, I think it is worth mentioning.
Good.
I mean, if it's the first time, then you should be kind of appalled. But if it's like the incumbent or whatnot, or she's already proven herself to know the job and got elected many times, then she's just the governor at this point. But I feel like if it's historic, there's no harm in that, and I think just being with young people at this time, I think they are listening to that stuff. They wouldn't think it's that appalling because they're young and they've only seen so many politicians. But I think pointing it out every once in a while isn't a bad idea. Maybe not exclusive to their only personality trait. Yeah, that's an issue. Yeah. But I think with everything, it's nuanced and there's a balance to it.
Good. All right, I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. That is a good one, Jay. I'll move on. I don't have any election ones. Sorry, guys. I can't play off of that.
Boo.
But
boo? Yeah. Did you say boo, Greg?
did.
We all
You just wanted to pick on her if she. Anyway,
yeah.
go.
I was so excited to yell at her
well,
for election stuff, but
2 things happened yesterday. I'll pick one and then the next one will be the next one. But we have a student in our ministry that has Down syndrome, and he was on the news last night on our local news because he had been writing letters to his middle school to have a mascot for the last 3 years. And so recently on Spirit Week, they surprised him they had, the regular assembly, and he's sitting there and the cameras are like facing him, and they bring out this like mascot costume and he's the mascot. And it's just a tearjerker. I'll send it to you because the whole thing was like really good. And so he got his wish, and it was last night on the news. I was trying to watch it before youth group. I was trying to put it on the screen, but it was too crazy and I couldn't figure it out. But I just watched it this morning, and people, when I opened my email this morning, 3 people have like sent it to me. Did you see this? Like, of course I knew he was going to be on the news. I just couldn't watch it during youth group. So I'm grateful for that family, that the parent, I've had his older sister before him, and I have his little brother now, and he's still in the youth ministry. So that whole family I've known for years. The parents are awesome. I saw them at the Pearl Jam concert, so they're cool.
Well, there we go. If you had 25 minutes into the podcast, you win the pool this week.
You're a winner. So anyway, I'm grateful for this family. I'm grateful that and the way that they did the news piece too is how much people really love this kid. And here's why, and they're interviewing him, and they're interviewing kids at the school. Like, this is why I love Maxford,
Is it true, B, that I hered a report that he wanted to be a very small bear because his youth minister dressed up as a bear?
No. He's an eagle. He's an Eckstein eagle.
Oh, that's
so they
awesome.
got him an eagle costume.
That's awesome.
Anyway, so I just watched it, and people have been sending it around since last night. And anyway, I'm grateful for that family. I'm grateful for Maxford. I'm grateful for the community that's gathered around him. And he's actually in California right now getting surgery on some nerve endings that went out this summer. And he's had a really tough year, actually. And anyway,
where in California is he at?
The Children's Hospital. I think the LA Children's Hospital, LA. Is that a thing?
There's CHOC, the Children's Hospital of Orange County, but I don't know if there's probably one in Los Angeles too.
Well, I could read the email his mom sent me.
If you want me to bring him some.
Well, they leave tomorrow. Oh, I guess.
Okay. But yeah, today I'm gonna be right by the CHOC.
Really? I'll see which hospital he's at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow,
Anyway, so I'm just all around like grateful, and I hope he feels loved, and
that's awesome.
The surgery goes well.
Excellent.
That's really cool.
Yeah. That's it.
Mine, I'll kind of dovetail off of yours. I was gonna do this one later, but I'll do it now. Our friend Greg Gilbertson, who's been on the podcast, friend of the show. There's been a series of like crazy, like brutal events in our hometown of Chippewa Falls. And Greg still lives there. I do not. But one of the things that this has kind of sparked in him has been a like wanting to dive deeply into why do terrible things keep happening in this same place. And there's a bunch of like statistical things, like whatever, like meth usage, we're always like very high at the top of that list, where like teen pregnancy, we're always very high at the top of the list, underage alcohol consumption, like all that stuff. Like, and so that just got Greg's kind of thinking about it and pushing on it a little bit. And so he threw up a video on Facebook, which is just him asking that question and then playing a Bill Maloney song. And that like, that's blown up a little bit. It's up to like over 7,000 views or something. It's just him playing on a piano, which is fun because he doesn't play piano. But I wanted to shout out to that, because if you have not seen it, or if you've not asked those kinds of questions about kind of your own community, it's really worth asking and beginning to like to reflect on the systemic nature of sin and generation after generation and that kind of stuff. And I don't really know the answer to why it's like that in Chippewa Falls, but I do know most of my buddies from high school have the Praying for Chippewa Falls thing on their Facebook page and stuff like that. So be praying for Chippewa Falls, but then also check out Greg's Facebook page, or you can check out my Facebook page and see the video, or you can go to his or whatever. I'm not sure it matters.
Okay, is there a way you could put this link on it to our podcast or something?
It's possible. Seems unlikely, but somebody with more technical ability probably could do that.
Yeah. You're awesome.
So, but yeah. So anyway, if you get a chance, it's similar to Bianca's in that they're both kind of getting famous. Hold on, I think my dog is killing a rat outside. Hold on, I'll be right back. I think, I don't know, maybe not.
I need to go stop it.
Yeah. While he's away, I'll just say that it's just important to ask the questions, right? I think you're not gonna get anywhere unless we ask, like, why does it keep hitting right here? Like, what is it? Geographical? Like, I think it's a good idea to ask questions. I remember our friend Phil Majorans when we were hanging out in San Antonio, and it was right around when I was starting to listen to this band Switchfoot from San Diego, and he just said, you know what I love about that band? They ask the right questions. You know, what if we were meant to live for so much more? Like, that was when they came out with that album. I was anyway. I like a good question, and I'm looking forward to seeing what Greg has to. The other Greg Gilbertson. What is it? What he has to say? What questions he's asking? And plus, whenever you get to hear him play, he's talented dude. The dude can. I've never seen him play the piano. That's a new thing to me.
Yeah. Did he say that he was writing a new album on this stuff?
I think so. We'll ask him when he comes back. What do we? I guess he's gonna cut. He's probably gonna cut all this.
Yeah.
We should.
And I looked at the email, and the mom calls it Children's Hospital LA, and I clicked on the link, and it's Children's Hospital LA. Is that the same one?
No, that's about 2 hours away from me.
Oh,
but okay. I could still do it if you really wanted me to.
No, I'll see them on Friday, and they'll probably have to be in the hospital here, and I'll go visit them.
Awesome.
You know, for like recovery stuff.
If they're at Children's Hospital Orange County, I'm honestly like 5 minutes away from it.
I know. I remember driving by it every once in a while when I lived.
That's where I did my CPE.
Really?
Well, I did it at Mission Hospital, which is a sister hospital of Chalk. But we would go do our class sessions at Chalk, and then go down to Mission for our clinical stuff, to see patients.
Did you save the rat?
I think so. I think we're all good.
Okay.
That dog is so dumb. All right.
Is that me? I'm on my third.
Yeah, right? I think so.
And that was just at worship last night. There was a young lady, and as pastors and leaders, at the end we ask, does anybody want to come forward for prayer? And then as the worship is happening, still we walk around just kind of ask people, hey, can I pray for you? And I prayed for I asked this young lady, Amy, and she said, no, I don't really need prayer, but how about and I found out what she did. She works at a sober living house, and she's one of the directors. And so I just prayed and just give her grace, give her courage, give her wisdom, that kind of stuff. And then amen. And then I was just hanging out. And then she came up to me afterwards and she said, I thought about it and I do need some prayer. I have a daughter who's at Calvin College in Grand Rapids. And I was like, that's incredible, because I was just from Muskegon, and so we prayed for Skylar, her daughter. But this is all part of my third point of I've just been really grateful for my time in Muskegon, lately. I got a letter from Cork. I think I've mentioned him before. He was just one of my favorite. He's just an amazing man of God. One of my congregants that was just an excellent man. And I don't know if they made it up, but do you remember in October it's Pastor Appreciation Month, and they used to give me they'd take an offering for me, like on the side, and give me money. I don't know. It was just gnarly. There's so many ways that God blessed me through the McGrath Memorial Congregation, and just my time in Muskegon. And so I've just been this conversation with Amy last night pinpricked a deep gratitude for at first I was interpreting it as missing, I really wish I was back there, but then I actually through this letter of Cork God bridged me over into, nah, I had you there for a season. I taught you some amazing stuff, and just be grateful, And so, so Amy lifting up Skylar, being grateful for time in Michigan, slightly missing it just because of the fall stuff, and also just the people. But also, yeah, I think over and above all of it, just grateful for how God brings me through. He brings us through these amazing journeys, like where you say yes to God and you go places and you see things and you get to witness frontline stuff that it's just an honor. And I want to pray for your dog.
Yeah, my dog is possessed by some sort of dog demon.
That reminds me of a really funny story. My brother-in-law bought this because they have 4 kids and it's 2 years since they've had a last kid. So they're like, can't have kids anymore. We got to get something. So they buy this dog off the black market, so they pay a bunch of money for this dog, but then now they can't get a hold of the guy. So the thing's sick as crazy. And then he starts losing his hair. They dump a bunch of money just to save the dog, but the dog's back onto the road to recovery. We go over there for Halloween with our neighbors. Our neighbors see the dog and it's missing hair. And our neighbor's first response was, "Whoa, a Halloween dog!" That was the best. That was the best part of my Halloween. Whoa, a Halloween dog.
They would shave their dog just
no, it was all patchy, because it's losing its hair. Well, Maddie, my sister-in-law, says it's not losing its hair, it's turning white. I don't buy it. It's losing hair. Anyway, it might be turning white. She might be right. Anywho.
Okay. I'll go. Mine is also a person in my ministry who is a 7th grader, and she a few weekends ago, we had a team leave from our church to go to the southern border to just listen to, they call themselves like the peacemaking team or peacemakers or something. So they were listening to Border Patrol, figuring out what was happening on the Tijuana border. They went to Tijuana, they went to San Diego, talk to refugees, talk to people coming over on the border, people who want to come over. And the one youth on the trip was the 7th grader, Fiona. And last night she shared with the whole youth about what it was like to go down there and what was it like for her and all the people that she met and all the stories and stuff. And she's already a really intelligent girl. And so usually these little interviews go like 2 minutes, I'll ask a question and they answer it. They're too nervous. But she spoke for like a good 10 minutes on all these things that she's learned. And the kids were so attentive, which was really my number one. I didn't want her to feel like it wasn't worth sharing if everyone was talking over her. And so they did really well. And so I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for that family too, that they would think to bring their youth down to something really heavy like this and keep her safe. And that she was able to share with her community and felt that she could share with her community, and they listened. And I'm just really grateful it went well, because it could have gone another way. And so yeah, I'm grateful for that whole trip. I'm glad they're back home though. I was a little worried about that. And I'm grateful for this girl, for Fiona, for being so brave and sharing. Her friends were videotaping her, and it was just really cute. So yes, that is my most grateful, and that happened last night.
How did she get to go on the trip?
What's that?
How did she get to go on the trip?
Everybody, there was only like 12 people. I think 3 of them were staff. Her mom's not staff, but her mom was going to go anyway, and so her mom brought her with her on the trip.
Nice. That's awesome.
That way. Yeah, and they learned a lot. I mean, I was hearing from the adults about what they learned, and I was like, wow, I can't believe Fiona was there. And then I heard from Fiona what it was like for her, and I was like, wow, this just seems really like a lot. And they were only there for like 3 or 4 days, and they just did so much and met so many people. And I think their main goal was just like, how do we also use our gifts? Like, we've met so many people using their gifts for making sure people stay alive, making sure they feel safe, making sure they feel heard. How do we learn from them, even though we're up here in Seattle? What is there to learn about being a peacemaker in all respects? And so that was just really, I learned a lot from Fiona too, just hearing from a 7th grader. And
That's awesome.
I don't think I know everything about that. And so anyway, I was just really grateful for the trip. I was grateful for her sharing and all that good stuff.
No doubt. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
That is a good one.
All right,
It's amazing.
my next one is not nearly as good as Bianca's one, so I'm kind of disappointed about that, but that's how it goes. But I also did get my next one from Jason. So Jason filled me in that John Prine was going to be on Austin City Limits, and so I went back and watched that Austin City Limits, and he's so good. It's so fun to watch John Prine play.
Yeah.
And then like part of the thing is like I know John Prine stuff, I would say pretty well. I'm not like a John Prine fanatic or anything like that. But one of the things when he puts out a new album, you can't tell which ones are the new songs and which ones are the really old songs.
Yeah.
Like which ones you just didn't know before. But I really loved, he has a song called Boundless Love.
Yeah.
That's almost like a hymn, like when I was growing up, what a hymn would sound like. It's pretty crazy. And I have no idea if that's a new song or old song or anything, but it's the first time I'd ever heard him play it. And it was super good.
He's the real deal. And you know what I loved about that performance is he's training up that young dude.
Yeah, that guy was good too.
He was really good. I forget his name. All right.
His last name is like Childers or something like that. Like
Yeah.
Travis Childers or something like that. Tyler
Children's,
something
yeah.
like that.
It was something. And he was money, but and he gave the stage to him. Like
Yeah.
he sang a duet with him and then he stepped off and he let him sing his own song. Like we talk about all the time, like I think that's one of the church's problems is we always, when God starts using us, we forget we're supposed to be training up people to be used the same way, and that's awesome. I've never seen that happen on an
Me either. And like the guy kind of acknowledged it, right? Like when he gets up right away, he goes, well, so this is cool.
yeah. It's like crazy.
Totally right response to it. So it was super good. It was
it was a really good performance. I'd say everybody hang out and watch that one.
So if you haven't seen that one, it's a lot of fun. And it also kind of reminds you, like, you just have no idea how much longer you got with like Willie Nelson or John Prine or some of these like Hall of Fame pantheon sort of songwriters. And so it was super cool to watch and to see that. It was fun. So thanks for the heads up on that one, Jason.
I like that.
I need to catch up on my ACL. I wanted to watch St. Vincent since you said that too. I just haven't gotten it.
The last one wasn't as good. I forget who it was. I think it was Sam Smith and somebody. But
that makes sense.
Yeah. I think the John Prine one's top like 5. I think in the whole thing, like I really know my favorites. Like I really like John Prine. Because the first time I saw him, it was right after. It's funny because you turned me on to him the first time, Yeah. And then I caught him on ACL, and that was a really good. But I like this one a lot because Johnny Cash, some of his later stuff is like just gold to me, and I feel like Prine is in that same exact vein. Like I think he's got the wisdom, he's got this growly voice, and just I dig it.
He has the title of his new album is fantastic, which is something like Under the Forgiving Tree or something like that, and it's like, oh, it's such a nice, like some biblical overtones, and then just John Prine doing John Prine stuff. So that's cool. Yeah. My dog. Sorry, guys.
What do you feed your dog?
Yeah, there's a squirrel in a tree outside. That's the whole thing. Like it's a squirrel, and the squirrel we've nicknamed the squirrel Snickers because it like snickers at the dogs. So it like intentionally climbs low enough so that the dogs can get mad, and then as soon as the dogs attack it, it just climbs up high enough that the dogs can't get to it, and then it snickers at them. And it's like, part of me wants to like kill the squirrel, and the other part of me is so impressed by its game that I can't do it.
That's really funny. Yeah. All right, my number 4 is Michael Myers, the actor, not the Halloween.
Mike Myers.
Yeah, Mike Myers.
Wayne from Wayne's World.
Yeah, Wayne's from Wayne's World. He's in that new movie.
Michael
I haven't seen it. Yeah.
No one calls him Michael Myers.
No, nobody. Literally no one. His mom, who named him Michael Myers, does not
Mike
call him
Myers.
Mike Myers.
Just for that confusion, exactly.
No,
that.
because he calls himself Michael Myers in his interview with Alec Baldwin. So that's on the thing.
Okay.
My thing is he's on Stephen Colbert and he's on Alec Baldwin started a new talk show.
Oh yeah.
And he does a good job of promoting the movie he's in, but that being second to just promoting gratitude. Like he is. It's just I think his Colbert interview is a little better than the Baldwin one, but
what movie does he have coming out?
He's in that Bohemian Rhapsody. He plays an EMI exec.
Oh, really?
That says that there's no way that Bohemian Rhapsody is going to get played on the radio.
Gotcha.
And just that's a whole catch-22 because he fought to have that in Wayne's World and.
That's so good. I didn't even think
really
about
cool.
that. Oh, that's good.
Anyway, it's just really it's worth watching, and just to see a grateful man and telling grateful, and he's hilarious too. Like he's funny on the side too. He's just one of the funniest dudes. Because I called him Michael Myers because in his Alec Baldwin interview, he first tries to cash his paycheck, and the cashier says, "Mike Myers, that's Michael Myers. That's Halloween. Just don't kill me." Because he did that's he was first getting out here. Michael Myers from
So
Halloween
you called him the name that in the anecdote he specifically uses to show that that's not his name.
No, that he was less famous than the Mike Myers of because they call him Mike Myers, Michael Myers in Halloween also. Both of them are called Michael Myers and Mike Myers, but Mike Myers.
Let's just call him Wayne. We'll call him Wayne.
No, we'll call him Mikey Myers.
Mike. Anywho.
I mean, you and I know him as Mikey.
The point, his interviews, both of them, just express gratitude. And whenever you experience like somebody grateful, you start to be grateful. I even over the television, it works. It's just, it's contagious. And so Mike Myers on Colbert and Baldwin.
Nice.
That's good.
Got a lot of trouble for the Mike Myers.
That's so funny because one of my favorite, well, obviously I love his movies, but one time he was accepting an award, like an MTV Movie Awards or whatever, and he went and grabbed the award, but as he was doing it, he was in front of the mic and he just goes, "Thank you so much," like to the person, and then everyone just starts laughing, and he turns to the crowd and he's like, "You caught me being gracious," like because it got amplified through the whole thing. And I always remember that. I'm like, he was just being a nice guy. It just happened to like catch on the microphone, but even that's funny for some reason. Like,
he's just Canadian.
Yeah, me being grateful is also funny, I guess. I don't know. He just called everybody out. Like, why are you laughing at that? Anyway, okay. What was my next one? Oh, mine is I've recently been caught being pastoral. My friend Zach just graduated from seminary, and he's catching me with all of my phrases that I say, so I'm not the topic of conversation. And we were all hanging out the other night, and someone was telling me something I had an opinion on, and I, instead of like saying it, I go, "What do you think about that?" And he was like, "That is an interesting phrase," because and then I used it again, and I was like, "Tell me more about that." And he's like, "I'm catching you saying all of these things now that I never really heard you say before." And I was like, "Well, now I'm being caught using these methods that I learned probably in chaplain work of like, instead of saying, 'Well, this is what I think about what you just told me,' instead you make them tell you more."
Yeah.
And it's a muscle that I've been working on for the last few years, but to have someone like point it out every time I do it is like interesting, because now I feel like, oh, it's so part of my vocabulary. But I'm glad that it's become so second nature to me to want people to fill in more instead of just letting them get away with like a one sentence, like, they've dropped this heavy bomb and they're kind of waiting for someone to respond. But usually in our culture, it's just like, oh, they don't want to talk about it, I'll move on, so they feel more comfortable. But as pastors, we have these tools of like nicely asking them, like, if you want to share more, this is a good place to do it. And so anyway, I'm grateful that I have that as a muscle memory, but also now my friend Zach is like pointing it out every time I do it, which is, it's funny, but it's also like, gosh, I do it a lot. I'm glad I do it a lot. And I'm not constantly just saying my opinion every time someone tells me something pretty heavy or like that needs unpacking. So anyway,
that sounds like a really commendable thing. It also sounds like something I don't do at all, so I don't know. Like, it sounds good though.
You know like the phrases, right, guys?
Yeah. I've watched TV shows with counselors in them, so I get that. But
it's similar, except you're listening. They're
what? Like, oh yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, listening tools. Anyway, it just happened to me recently, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. All right. My next one's totally off the board, sort of. I found the show like that maybe is like the single best show for me that I've ever seen. Like it's not oh boy, this is gonna take a little bit. I'm sorry. So in Britain, there's a show called Countdown, which is like a game show. And it's like a word game and a numbers game. And they literally, Bianca, they call it letters and numbers. Which I'm so excited about. And basically in the letters section, you get given 9 letters and you have to unscramble them to make the longest word you can make out of those 9 letters. And then in the math section, you're given 6 numbers and you have to use those 6 numbers to
make the longest number that you
No. You
Wait,
get it.
This is televised?
This is televised. Well, I know. Listen, I get it.
Other people do this?
I get it. All right. It's going to take a turn.
This is on our gratitude list?
Wait, sorry. What do they do with the numbers?
The number. So then there's like a randomly generated number, like 865.
Yeah.
That you have to use those 6 numbers to create an equation to hit.
Yeah.
So
I do math doku all the time.
Yeah, I know. So that one's fun. So anyways, that's what the game is. Sorry, Jason. But at the same time, hold on, I'm not done yet. It gets crazy. So at the same time,
numbers and letters.
Yeah, numbers and letters. So at the same time that show exists
in Britain,
there's a second show in Britain called 8 out of 10 Cats, which is a weekly comedy like take on the news. It's a panel show of comedians. Okay, I'm going to tie this in, I promise. So the host of 8 out of 10 Cats is a guy named Jimmy Carr.
Oh,
Jason,
I know him.
You and I saw him. Yeah, he's hilarious.
He's great.
Yeah,
he's like my favorite insult comic guy. So he's fantastic. And he was on roast battles and stuff like that.
You buried the lead, dude.
But I'm getting to it.
He's building up.
It wouldn't make sense. I'm building up. You wouldn't get it otherwise. You already are having a hard time. Okay.
Yeah.
So so like 8 years ago or something, the channel that they're both shows are on the same channel. The channel decided to do a mashup night. So 8 out of 10 Cats played Countdown. Countdown. And it was amazing. So like 6 months later, they did it again as like a rematch. I'm not lying to you. I would not lie.
Are these on Netflix?
I have a follow-up question too.
No, they're on YouTube. You can watch them all though. So now there's like 103 of these episodes, and they are amazing. Like it's the perfect mix for me of insults, competition, and just
letters,
wacky improv and comedy,
numbers.
Letters and numbers. It's like everything. It's like whoosh. It's the vortex. Like I cannot believe how much I enjoy this show.
Okay, follow up.
Yeah,
clean or not clean?
It's not like super clean.
PG-13.
Not super clean. PG-13. There's some swearing because it's British shows.
Yeah,
and there's a ton of innuendo. So, which it turns out I really enjoy.
Also, how?
That's the quote of this podcast. There's a ton of innuendos, which turns out I really enjoy.
Much more than I realized I did.
My question is, how did you find this?
Okay. Yeah. How did I find it? So I Googled
innuendo.
No. Close.
Wait, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, don't do that. I Googled it. Let's see. So somebody sent around a video of, I can't remember which was the original one that got me going on it. It might have been Dwayne. Oh no, it was definitely Ryan Reynolds and Josh Brolin insulting each other on some kind of British thing. And so like there's like a radio channel that does these like insults, whatever. And so I was like, oh, that's really funny. I wonder how many more there are. So I looked up how many more there were. And the person who put that playlist together had thrown into it Jimmy Carr's insulting guests. And so it was like, I was watching him just boom, 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 boom. I was like, amazing.
This is YouTube.
Yeah, so YouTube. So then I was like, okay, Jimmy Carr's doing it. And then I was like, wait, this is an actual show where he just insults guests? That can't be a whole show. So then I like dug around a little bit till I found the show. And then I just watched highlights of him insulting guests. And then I was like, I got to try this actual show. This might be funny. And it is hilarious. So
and then
anyway,
the mashup.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoy it. It's 8 out of 10 cats do countdown, or 8 out of 10 cats play countdown, something like that. But
so they were on countdown 103 times, or there's 103 countdown shows, and some of them are 8 out of 10.
They create after like the second time they decided to stop doing mashups and just let them do this show once a week. So then it
countdown
to do countdown. So the show is technically called 8 out of 10 cats does countdown.
Oh, got it.
So
I can't wait.
You're gonna, Bianca. I am so excited for you to experience this of all people. Jason, you're not gonna care, but Bianca, you're.
I will. I like Jimmy Carr. I think
Jimmy Carr is hilarious.
Yeah.
And someday we're gonna have to tell the story of Letters and Numbers and how that really bonded our friendship.
Yeah, it really did bond us, but
but not now.
Not now.
My fifth and final one is POD. The band is coming out with a new album, and it stands for Payable on Death. They're from San Diego, and they good band. They're coming out with a new album, and they're coming to town, and they're playing Fingerprints, which is my favorite venue. It's this record store that does in-stores, Long Beach. It's right. It's 1 block away from where I work in Long Beach, where I was last night doing a worship service, and it's awesome. And the fact that POD is playing it is part of my thing, but the real thing I'm grateful for is I mentioned it to my son because I was thinking who I wanted to bring, because you get 2 people, whatever. And it was one guy, and there was a couple guys in the running. And then I asked my son, hey, would you like to go? And he said, POD? Oh, I'm wicked excited. Yeah, let's do it. And it's that's what I'm grateful for, because I dragged him to the Kills, and he didn't really like it. But I think he's going to, I don't know. I'm just excited that he wants to experience a show with me. And he knows POD because he put it on his iPod. And anyway, so I'm really grateful. It's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and we're going to go see him at Fingerprints. So, boom. There's not much.
Before I tell my obligatory POD story about my brother.
Sure.
So POD has an amazing song called Ghetto. Amazing might be overstated, but it is a song called Ghetto.
I love that song.
My brother was absolutely convinced that song was kettle. That the world is a kettle. And so I asked him about it. I was like, Josh, what do you mean the world is a kettle? It doesn't even make sense. And he goes, I was like, I'm pretty sure he's saying ghetto. And Josh goes, no, it's kettle. I was like what? And he goes, like a melting pot where like everybody comes together. I was like, no, that's not what that song's about, dude. Like, listen to it again. Yeah, but ghetto doesn't make any sense. I was like, oh, that 100% makes sense. You just don't know what ghetto means. Anyway.
And isn't it called that?
It's called Ghetto. Yeah, that helped my case when he looked up
the name of the song is Ghetto, I think. Yeah.
What was their more famous song in the 2000s? I can't think of it.
It's off the same album. It's called the album was Satellite, and they had Boom. Here Comes the Boom.
Oh,
and they did Alive. I Feel So Alive.
Oh,
and then, that's and then they did The Youth of the Nation.
Oh my gosh, they had hits on hits on hits.
Yeah, just that one album. POD. That one album blew up.
I forgot about that.
Really did. Crazy. All right, well, that's exciting, Jason. I'm pumped for you.
Yeah.
When does that happen?
The
Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, you said that.
Bianca. Yeah.
I'm listening.
Yeah, and so you can still, if you call Fingerprints, you say, "Hey, I don't know if you're going to be near Long Beach." Yeah, you can go if you want. If you're listening to this, you can call Fingerprints Record Store and say, "Hey, I'd like to purchase their POD. I'd like to do the in-store Tuesday before Thanksgiving." You purchase their album, and that gets you a ticket into this in-store.
Oh, that's awesome. So you get the album and the concert, huh?
Yeah, you get the album and the concert, and they do a short set list, and it's early because I'm old, and then so you don't have to stay around a long time, and then you can hang out, and they usually stick around and sign anything you want to sign. I met Mason Jennings at the time, and I took a picture with him. I sent it to Bianca just because Bianca turned me on to Mason Jennings.
He's the best.
He is good.
Awesome. B, what's your last one?
Last one is the hill I am willing to die on, and I want to hear from you guys what you think.
Awesome.
I was going to choose that Fever Pitch is a very good movie, one of the best, but I've already talked about that one.
Yeah, so you decided you were terribly mistaken.
They can be minor, these hills, okay?
Yeah.
So mine is super minor, but I've always thought this. And I think that Wednesday is spelled wrong. And we've just kind of been like following suit, even though it's kind of like the Jim Gaffigan joke where he goes, the male seahorse, that's a male seahorse. Well, it's giving birth. Well, the male seahorses give birth, okay? Even though now that is a fact, and we're just gonna run with it, okay? Even though I was wrong. So that's the same as Wednesday. It's like, I spelled it wrong, but that's how I've been spelling it. Well, that's how Wednesday's spelled, okay? And I wish it weren't spelled that way. But anyway, that's the hill I'm willing to die on. I'm not going to start writing it the way it's spelled, but I do think that's fine. You guys got one? I know you do.
I do. I totally have one. Do you want to do your last one, Greg? And then we'll do hill.
No, just do your hill. I'll do my hill, and then I'll do my last one.
Okay, perfect. And my hill I'm going to die on is people that when you mention you're going somewhere have been there and have done it better than you will ever do it. I'm going to the Holy Land in February.
Oh yeah.
And it's about half. It's about half the people I tell. They say, "Oh, I went to the Holy Land, and here's why my trip is better than yours is going to be." You know, they don't say that like vocally, but then they say like, "Oh, I went with Jesus' nephew." You know, like he showed me. You know, like I don't know. I just that's a pet peeve. Like, okay, thanks. It kind of
that's a strong one. That's a strong one.
Everyone stopped doing that and shut your mouths. Let me enjoy my Holy Land trip.
The world would be better if that was the case.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. The hill I'm willing to die on. Oh man. I was trying to narrow it down.
You have so many.
I know. This is. I don't even know.
You could do C.S. Lewis. You could do.
No.
You could do.
All right. The hill I'm willing to die on is. I think we have entirely too much confidence in dinosaurs.
Confidence.
Yeah, what? Like we're very sure about dinosaurs, and that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like I think the least we could do is be a little bit more suspect about dinosaurs. I'm willing to die on
that. All right.
Okay.
I feel like
we should open the podcast with that quote. Do it all in reverse. Like I don't know how you can do that, but I think that's
I'm not saying they didn't exist. I'm not saying they're not real.
Yeah,
it's just everything we've ever believed about them ends up being wrong. I think we should be a little bit more suspicious of dinosaurs. That's all I'm saying.
We're making broad claims.
That's right. That's right.
I was not expecting that.
I wanted to go off the board for you guys because I knew what it would mean for you. So
A+. If we were doing battle on the hills or whatever, you win. You win. You win. Checkmate, my friend.
Oh boy. All right. Let's see. I was looking for my exact quote here. All right. The fifth one for me is a sadness, but also a gratitude. Eugene Peterson died. who I think we may have mentioned in previous podcasts. So I know we've mentioned Peterson, but I don't know if we mentioned that he died. But he did not die that long ago, and he just had his funeral service. But one of the things in his funeral service, his son was doing a eulogy sermon about Peterson, and he said that Peterson told him once that his dad told him once a long time ago that he had pulled this like great trick on the world because he'd really only preached one sermon. But everybody kept thinking he had preached more than one sermon. But he said, my dad told me when I was a kid what it was, so then I could see the trick everywhere I looked, and it was this. He said, Peterson's one sermon was that God loves you, he's on your side, he's coming after you, and he's relentless. And I was like, oh man, that's good stuff. So I remember, so I read that. I was like, oh, that's great. Like that's strong parenting, strong theologizing. Yeah. I'm always a fan of Jason. I talked about this before too. Jason loves like really short things. And so whenever some of those short things can have some like depth and robustness to them, I'm always impressed by that. So God loves you. He's on your side. He's coming after you. He's relentless. That's what Peterson described as his only sermon he ever gave. He just gave it for 50 years in as many different ways as possible. I was like, that's pretty good.
That's excellent because he mentions that in his autobiography, but the pastor, but he doesn't spill the beans. He doesn't say like what that one sermon is.
Oh, really? He just says that he does it?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
He tells that story of his son telling him that, asking him, like, how do you preach so many times? And he just said, I just preach one sermon, and then he just kind of keeps going, so he doesn't give that.
Oh, well, there you go. Now you know the answer to that question. His son spilled the beans at his funeral. That's kind of cool.
That's awesome. I think that's classic.
Yep. And it's classic Peterson. It's like, of course. So, that's what I got. Those are my 5. You guys good?
Oh, yeah.
We are. That's it. Well, hey, I love you, everybody in the whole world, but especially I like Bianca and I like Greg. I've been starting to say this. Maybe I don't know. We're not going to do this on a regular basis. No. But as I go up to Elsie and I say, "Do you know what I like about you?" And she goes, "What?" And I say, "Everything." And she goes, like she does that. And I was just thinking about that. Just read that You Are Special for the millionth time, that children's book. And I was just hearing from God, through the Holy Spirit, just saying, that's kind of my message to you. And it kind of sums up, I'm in your corner. That's a good thing to end on. Eugene Peterson. Bam.
There you go. And be a little more suspicious of dinosaurs. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for following us this week. We will get back to you next week. Thanks, guys.
Word. Bye.
Peace.